are things sticking up out all over the place because, see, this was never a cruise ship. This was a naval ship. You will be going up and down a number of stairs. Please hold on to the handrails. Those stairs can be rather steep. Pointy front end of the ship. So if you're ready, we're going up to the pointy front end of the ship. Please follow me.
Mira la cubierta, estamos en el tour guiado. Vamos a escuchar a este hombre. Mira la cubierta, ¿eh? Mira qué madera.
You'll make sort of a semicircle around me. You'll make a semicircle around me. Come as close as you feel comfortable.
Semicircle around. Hasta ahí llegamos, ¿no? ¿Y la madera? Muy curioso, ¿no? Mira que las juntas de goma, para que no se dilate, para que no se expanda. Está guay.
Distinguished history. The ship began to be built on January 6th of 1941 in the New York Naval Shipyard in Brooklyn, New York. Now that date is significant because, see, that's exactly 1 day and 11 months before the attack takes place here in Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. So for that reason, this ship was not here when the attack takes place on Pearl Harbor. She's still sitting in the Brooklyn Naval Shipyard about halfway down. Now this ship would be launched on January 29th of 1944 and would be christened by a young lady by the name of Mary Margaret Truman, who is the daughter of then junior senator from Missouri, Harry S. Truman, who later, of course, will become Vice President and President of the United States. This will always be his favorite ship. Now, this ship would be part of a class of battleships called the Iowa-class fast attack battleships. There were 4 of them built. The USS Iowa, the USS New Jersey, the USS Wisconsin, and then finally the USS Missouri. This would be the last of the Iowa-class battleships ever built. In fact, this will be the last battleship ever built by the United States.
El último
this
destructor
ship will be
jamás
commissioned
construido.
on June 11th of 1944, and after an initial shakedown cruise, will be sent out
El
to
11
the
de junio del
Pacific
44 es
to
cuando fue
battle the
votado,
Japanese
con lo cual es
Empire during
3 años
World
posterior al
War
ataque.
II. She will see duty in the Allied invasions of the island of Okinawa.
Estuvo en servicio en la invasión de Okinawa
Iwo
y en Iwo Jima también.
She will do shore bombardment of the main islands of Japan, but of course what she's most famous for is on September 2nd, 1945, she would be the site of the surrender of the Japanese Empire that will end
El 2 de
World
septiembre del
War II.
45 se firma la rendición del Imperio de Japón a los americanos. Aquí.
Well, after World War II, this ship will keep operating, but its 3 sister ships are going to be decommissioned, put into mothballs and storage in Bremerton, Washington. Said, as long as I'm president, this ship will keep operating. By the way, that was an exact imitation of Harry S. Truman. And because of that, this ship got to see duty in the
El presidente Truman quería que el barco estuviera en servicio incluso después de la Guerra Mundial, porque aquí fue donde se fundió donde se firmó la rendición de Japón y lo tuvo en servicio años después.
Looks like a big white garbage can, R2-D2 from Star Wars. That's the Sea Whiz. Close-in weapon support system. That's the Phoenix Gatling gun that shoots over 3,000 rounds per minute. Well, this ship will be recommissioned on May 10th of 1986. She's going to see duty in Operation Earnest Will, Operation Desert Shield, and then finally on January 17th of 1991, she will fire the first of 28 cruise Tomahawk missiles at Baghdad during Operation Desert Storm. Well, that will be the last combat she'll ever see, but she had one last duty to perform. She's going to sail into this harbor, Pearl Harbor, on December 7th, 1991, for the 50th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor. She would be the flagship for something called Operation Remembrance. Well, finally, on March 31st of 1992, the battleship Missouri will be decommissioned for the last time. And when the last sailor crosses that gangway, he will in fact be the last battleship sailor in the world. Well, what would be the fate of the battleship Missouri? Well, there was a threat she would be scrapped, but an organization will step in and rescue her called the USS Missouri Memorial Association, based here in Honolulu, and they're going to bring the ship here to Pearl Harbor in 1998. We're going to open our doors to all of you on January 29th of 1999. Since that date, we have had more than 10 million visitors. 5-degree angle pointed towards the USS Arizona Memorial and the USS Arizona that is now beneath the waves, almost as if saluting, and almost as if this ship is on guard of those over 900 sailors and Marines who are still entombed on board the USS Arizona. Note on that ship, the USS Arizona, December 7th, 1941, World War II will begin for the United States. On board this ship, September 2nd, 1945, World War II will end for the United States. So you got the beginning and you got the end. Two ships facing bow to bow as if bookends of World War II within 300 yards of one another. Well, she's a massive ship. She's 887 feet 3 inches long. I know that because I measured her this morning. Personally. With a tape measure. No, I didn't do that. But that's almost 3 American football fields in length. At her widest point of beam, she's 108 feet 2 inches wide. That's important because, see, she was designed to transit from the Atlantic to the Pacific, Pacific to the Atlantic, through the Panama Canal. And in her day, the locks of the Panama Canal were 110 feet wide. So what's that mean? An 11-inch clearance on each side of this ship.
11-inch clearance.
Kind of a tight fit. They
often
often would scrape the sides of the locks of the Panama Canal. The sailors said it was an awful sound. Sounded like 10,000 fingernails scraping on a gigantic chalkboard. They almost had to repaint the sides of the ship every time they went through the locks of the Panama Canal.
Okay.
Well, from the keel, that's the bottom of the ship, and yes, folks, this ship is floating where we are right now.
Yeah.
From the keel all the way up to the top of the mast, she's 216 feet 6 inches. That's about the height of a 20-story building. When this ship was fully loaded, she weighed 58,000 tons. She could go 33 knots. That's about 38 to 40 miles an hour. Can you envision this thing going 38 to 40 miles an hour? Well, the thing that probably intrigues people more than anything else about this ship are these big, massive guns.
¿no? Que estamos ahí, ¿no?
These are 16-inch, 50 caliber rifle guns. These are the largest guns ever placed on a U.S. naval vessel. There are 9 of them on board. They're grouped together in 3 into these boxy-looking things we call turrets. Right in front of you is turret number 1. Right behind it, 3 more of those massive guns. That's turret number 2, and then all the way in the back of the ship, that's turret number 3. Let me tell you a little bit about these guns. Each one of those barrels is 66 feet long, about the length of a good-sized school bus. Each one of those barrels weighs 239,000 pounds, about the weight of one of our old U.S. space shuttles. These guns could be individually targeted in tandem. They could be reloaded and fired 1 round every 30 seconds. They had a muzzle velocity of 2,500 feet per second, which is Mach 2. They could send a projectile 23 nautical miles or 25 statutory miles. Now, what you're looking at right now is merely the top of the turret. This is called the gun house. Inside are 25 men who would load those barrels.
25 men.
But below the gun house was a core that went 5 or 6 decks below us. And in there was another 70 men. Their job was to operate the electrical and hydraulics that would raise and lower the barrels, turn the turrets to the left and right port and starboard. They would also send up the shells and the gunpowder. Right in front of you, you see one of the shells fired by these guns. That's an armor-piercing shell. That particular shell could penetrate 17 inches of armor, 28 feet of reinforced concrete, only weighs 2,700 pounds, about the weight of a Volkswagen Beetle. We could fire another type of shell called the high-capacity explosive shell, weighed 1,900 pounds. We don't have one on display up here. We do down on the pier. It would have about 150 pounds of gunpowder.
Está hablando de este proyectil que es el que dispara el cañón, que puede penetrar, pues yo que sé, de todo, vamos. Estos barcos también fueron los que dispararon contra las defensas alemanas en el día D, desde mar hacia la costa. Y este tipo de misiles.
deck on fire, the concussion would just destroy everything up here.
Mira, nunca se disparan en esta
And so
dirección.
we always had to turn these guns
Tienen que
to the
girarlos
port,
hacia los lados.
starboard, left and right to fire these
Hacia
massive
exterior
guns.
o
Now
babor.
put your
Nunca
thinking
dispara-
cap on. Suppose we turned all 3 of our 16-inch turrets that way, fired all 9 guns that way. You think the ship would move sideways some?
At some point.
Yeah, most people would say yes.
Yes.
I think Sir Isaac Newton would
No.
say yes. But I'm going to tell you no,
No.
for 2 reasons. One, at the base of the barrels, you see those black bloomer things behind
Sí,
those are
sí,
recoil,
sí.
counter-recoil cylinders
Mm.
that take the 4.5 feet of recoil. Plus, if you recall, I told you this ship weighed 58,000 tons. So when those 9 guns would fire this direction, the ship didn't move 1 inch that way. But in the direction we fire the guns, 200 feet of flame is going to come out of each barrel. The concussion is going to be so amazing, it will actually create a wake in the water. Now, I must apologize to all you folks. I have given you an awful lot of information to somehow try to absorb. They make me do it.
Is there a quiz?
Did I tell you that they make me do it? Yeah, there's going to be a quiz. Now, if you're ready, we're going to go towards the surrender deck, sir. And your wife, if you want to lead us.
Intento resumir, ha explicado que el barco sale, o sea, deja de estar operativo cuando el presidente Truman deja la presidencia, porque el presidente Truman, que hizo firmar aquí la paz a los japoneses, pues quería que estuviera en servicio hasta mientras él fuera presidente. Años después, en los años 80, el presidente Reagan lo vuelve a poner en operación porque considera que hay un riesgo muy grande con la Unión Soviética, lo vuelve a poner en operación otra vez y entonces, digamos, se instalan esos misiles, esa especie como de cápsulas que hay por ahí, ¿vale? que son las que disparan los misiles Tomahawk, y este barco entra en operación en la tormenta del desierto, la invasión americana de Irak, con el presidente Bush padre, y dispara los primeros Tomahawk que son disparados contra Bagdad, se disparan desde este mismo battleship, desde este mismo destructor en la guerra del Golfo Pérsico, la operación Tormenta del Desierto. Después el barco continúa operativo hasta que deja de estarlo, parece que dice el año 90 y tantos, que deja de estar operativo, y por tanto fue el último destructor que ha operado del mundo, porque ahora ya es todo a base de o bien de fragatas o bien de portaaviones. Muy interesante lo que comenta. Habían explicado pues que los cañones no pueden disparar de frente tal como los vemos, sino que disparan de lado hacia babor o hacia estribor, y que cuando disparan todos a la vez apenas se mueve un inch hacia el lado, o sea, parecería que el barco tuviera que moverse hacia atrás por el retroceso, pero no, debido a la capacidad de absorción al retroceso que tienen los cañones, no lo sé, y que amortigua, y al peso tremendo del barco, digamos, saca una llamarada tremenda hacia adelante, pero no se mueve más que una pulgada.